Hey guys, we're back for some more Standard. Recently, I've decided to kind of get back into the Boros Convoke deck that I put together a couple days ago. So I will have a link in the description for the original deck tech video and a full deck list both on untap.gg as well as Moxfield. So yeah, getting back into it, I love how fast this deck is. I love how aggressive it is. I've really enjoyed playing the Orzhov Aggro life gain deck, but it definitely hurts against control where it's not quite as fast, not able to turn the corner as much, and this deck is nothing but a blitz, so I love it. For those of you new here, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I really do appreciate it, and if you do like my content, please consider subscribing, maybe dropping a comment or a like, or sharing it with a friend of yours who might also like my channel. For my returning viewers, thank you guys so much again for supporting me. It really does mean the world, and this would not be possible without you. So know that you guys are very important to me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's jump in. So I made a couple changes. Some of the big things, I did upgrade, or I upped the land count here up to 21 lands total. I just felt like I wanted it to be a little bit more consistent. There were a lot of times that I ended up having to mulligan, and so kind of finding that happy medium really, I think, sort of settled around 21 lands. Also, it was taking a lot of pain from the Thran portal, so I did cut a Thran portal and just added some more basics. Also, I think 2 copies of Sokenzen feels right, just some additional ways of producing tokens and threats. And so with this, we have a total here of 15 sources of red, and then we also have 16 sources of white. So feels pretty well balanced. I mean, the breakdown here is slightly more red, or excuse me, slightly more white than red. So that feels pretty good. In terms of the enablers for Gleeful Demolition, I do have a total of 11 sources. So we have 4 Voldaran Epicures, 4 Novice Inspectors, which both generate artifact tokens, and then 3 copies of Yoshin Frontliner, which is certainly the weakest of the 3, but it does also very much fit a role, and it definitely is a useful 1-drop, which I am happy to see because you can Gleeful Demolition it twice effectively, which is great. So I think with 11 sources, we also have functionally an extra 3 from Mirix if we can get up to 4 lands. Can start making artifact tokens and then use that for Gleeful Demolition, which is another possible outlet. I added back in Sanguine Evangelist. This card is just a really nice top end. Also, it's kind of you're doing this sort of fine dance between how much cheap creatures you want and how many creatures you want that are over 3 casting cost, because there is such a huge problem with blue-white control, specifically running a full play set of Temporary Lockdown, which can just shut you out of the game. And so being able to have your Knight-errant of Eos, your Sanguine Evangelist, and your Immodane's Recruiters, as well as your War Leader's Calls, survive that is really big game. With War Leader's Call, I certainly tried out a full play set, and it just felt like a little bit too much. You want to have a nice ratio of this enchantment versus creatures that will then activate it, and so I feel like 3 is kind of the sweet spot. With Sanguine Evangelist, around 2 feels right. We've got 13 cards effectively that are 3 mana or higher, and then we have 19 1-drops and 7 2-drops. It's really tough here to kind of find out what was the right cuts. I ended up cutting 1 Regal Bunnicorn. This card is fantastic, but if you have a hand that has too many of these and not enough little guys, you can get kind of stuck. And so again, I feel like 3 is a good place. All of that said, I do also have a sideboard here, which I updated a little bit. I did take a look at some other versions of the deck online, and I think that it definitely brought in some good cards, depending on the matchup. So you have End the Festivities for the mirror match, which can be really effective at just counter-wiping their board. You have Lithomantic Barrage, which can be used against like Planeswalkers, either Jace or the Wandering Emperor, as well as any other kind of big threats like Adeline in like the mono-white matchup. You have Get Lost, which is kind of a catch-all, but is also nice at getting rid of a temporary lockdown in the control mirror, or excuse me, the control matchup. And then you have 2 copies here of Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, as well as 2 copies of Invasion of Gobakhan to push back their board wipes a little bit. And then in addition, you do have 1 copy of Unlicensed Hearse to go after their memory, the memory deluges in the blue-white matchup, as well as any kind of graveyard strategies. And then this is also a nice threat because this is very difficult for blue-white control to deal with outside of like a temporary lockdown. Get Lost doesn't target it, so they have to use either a lockdown or a march to get rid of it. And then lastly, I've got 2 copies of Lightning Helix. I had been running Knockout Blow, but I think that, you know, Lightning Helix kind of accomplishes the same thing. It is a little bit more expensive, but can also go face, which is pretty important. So other considerations, you could consider something like Case of the Gateway Express, which is a nice way to target creatures and give you a threat. But I felt like, and certainly there are some decks that are running at main deck, I felt like War Leader's Call was kind of just a better overall answer, partially because it is 3 mana casting cost and does dodge temporary lockdown. So all that said, let's hop into some games. I've been kind of hovering around like the top 350 or so Mythic. Yeah, I think right at 326 right now. So definitely been trying to fight to get that number down a little bit, but there's a lot of different decks, and spent a lot of time on Orzhov, but really excited to get back into kind of more familiar territory. I really am, you know, a very kind of aggressive player at heart, and so whether that's Boros, mono red, mono white, it all feels good. Yeah, this opening hand looks great. Happy to keep. While we don't have an artifact, we do have 3 mana, which is great. And then we're able to start looking for one with Warden into Resolute Reinforcements, with a War Leader's Call at the top end here. But again, with 11 different cards that produce or are an artifact in some way, I do feel pretty good about our chances of finding one. I think there are some versions that run Charming Scoundrel, which is certainly another possibility. I think I just don't want to gum up my 2-drop slot so much. And the double dipping on Frontliner I think is really nice. One of the other things that I wanted to mention is when I updated this list, I ended up cutting all the copies of Lunarch Veteran, so this is going to make it a harder matchup against aggro. I just didn't really have room for everything and getting more land, so don't know if that's going to be a good change or not, but we'll see. Here I think we want to play Thran Portal as our 3rd land. Not having double color kind of sucks, but against mono red I wanted to be pretty careful of my life total. Let's see, because I think if we go like reinforcements this turn, next turn we'll still have enough for War Leader's Call. So I feel like it's safe to go Mirrex here. Try to mitigate some life lost. Okay, and that actually looks pretty nice. We're able to play without having to spend life. Feels pretty good. So, I mean, like, next turn we're just going to go War Leader's Call, probably. Although we could try to search for an artifact, which might be a little bit of a higher value play. Yeah, you know, I think we can do a little better. It's certainly not bad, but we are at 20, and I think we want to make use of this Thran Portal if we can. Okay, so we could definitely go War Leader's Call here. And And I think, yeah, we just race. We're at 17. So let's get that going. Okay, and Recruiter should be, let's see, is that enough on its own? This will be a 4 power, essentially 5 because the War Leader's call. 5, 8, 11. Yeah, that's game. But yeah, I just love the power of this deck. It just feels so good to be able to end the game so quickly. I'm always looking for a deck that can just end the game super fast. To get those game reps in, and like, especially if you're climbing ladder, this is a really good deck. Just because the games are going to be super short, whether you're winning or losing. The other nice thing is that I have a lot more data on this specific deck because I did a lot more reps here on my computer as opposed to on my tablet, so a lot of it more has been saved on untapped.gg. Okay, so let's see. We've got Novice Inspector plus Gleeful Demolition, so I think we have to keep, even though the mana's not great. So turn 1 will go Novice Inspector for white, and then Mirrex will be the red. And then we can go into Knight-errant, so that feels pretty good if they don't kill our stuff. And I think, yeah, we'd much rather have the portal be on white because we do have a little bit more white than red in the deck. Okay, I guess that was enough. I mean, I'll take it. But yeah, I was looking on one of the, trying to think of the website, like the top 250 current meta for standard. And I think like 10% of the field or more is this specific deck, Boros Convoke. So definitely being ready for it in the board if you are playing best of 3 is a great idea. And just also kind of like mainboarding some, you know, being able to be ready for it, I guess. If you're playing a different deck, but I think just, you know, it was hard. Yeah, this hand looks great. It was hard making the decision to cut the Lunarch Veterans, but I think just kind of fully committing, going all in. Like, yeah, you are going to maybe lose some matchups where the extra life might have happened, but you're so much better off against those control decks. And, like, really, I mean, if we're being honest, those control decks are just like the bane of our existence. Like, it's so awful when the game takes like 20, 30 minutes of just, oh God, I hate those long games. So very excited for the more all-in, faster strategy. All right, so yeah, we've got the Demolition. Unless they have like March in response here, I'm feeling pretty good about this. And now, yeah, we've got to carefully not play the Ocean Frontliner because then we won't have a white source for Knight-errant, so... Oh, yeah. Definitely Recruiter. I think because we don't have the third land yet, I'm just going to hedge here and go Recruiter and Bunnicorn. So we could try to search for the land. That definitely is a decent idea. So the Bunnicorn comes down pretty large, but if they have targeted removal, I'm a little bit more concerned about just hitting that land drop. So I think maybe let's try to search. I think, yeah, maybe like Epicure plus search here feels pretty good. All right. Maybe we search again, because it's so good if we hit that land drop. So I think we just go for it. And then just diversifying here a little bit in case they've got removal. Man, knight-errant's great, but we just need to be able to hit them. Yeah, I think with a double War Leader's Call, we just want to hit land more than anything. Okay, they do have Virtue. Okay, no land hurts for sure. But yeah, I think let's just get a Bunnicorn out. Definitely don't want to trade here. Our Bunnicorn can grow quite a bit. Alright, I think instead now we're just going to go Epicure plus Novice Inspector. Just build up the size of that Bunnicorn. They probably are holding removal for it, but at least we're forcing them to use it. So, I guess they're looking to see if we're willing to trade. I don't think we want to here, because if we can go War Leader's Call, we can just sort of... They also might have removal in hand to blow us out, so we have to like triple block, and they're getting a 2-for-1. So I think we're just going to go ahead and take it. Okay, good lord, cannot find a land to save our lives. So I think we just play another Bunnicorn then. Okay, well, Gleeful Demolition is still great. Yeah, let's do that. And then I think Epicure... Yeah, Epicure... Oh, no, we don't have the mana for that. So we can go maybe Frontliner into Demolition. And then I guess let's get rid of the blood token here. All right, so if we're hitting with these, we could attack actually all out here. They're not able to, like, I think they have force blocks, so they have to at least block one of these. And if they kill one of our other guys, like, so what? We have so many here. Hopefully there's no board wipe to go with it. Okay, yeah, they did have the board wipe, unfortunately.
I bring my own army.
Still no land. Good God. Okay, so I guess... What do we do here? Could try to dig for land, but that is so anemic. We're at 10. I think maybe just go for, like, reinforcements here. We could also go for Epicure and then pitch and dig, which is kind of like... Yeah, I mean, that's... We're taking pain to do it, though, so that's not great. Yeah, I think we have to actually, at this point, maybe just hope we hit, so just go for reinforcements. But yeah, even with 21 land, this can just feel super rough getting your third land sometimes. So I don't know that I'd want to go any higher on the land count to just dilute our draws, but it is a real problem.
You deal with
Yeah, and I think this is just too little too late. They've got 6 lifelink in the air. So unfortunately didn't quite get there. The one thing I would say is with this deck, pretty much if you have one-landers, just because hitting 3 is so important, I would pretty much always mulligan a hand with only 1 land, even though if it's tempting to stay with it, just because this can happen essentially. And if you're starting with at least 2 land, there's at least a decent chance of getting there. I'll pretty much keep any 2-lander. Since this deck, you know, mulliganing is pretty rough on this deck. If you were going to augment the land count, like I would never go higher than 22 land. I suppose you could go up like a land to try to, you know, up that chance a little bit, but you really want to have a pretty high density of threats. And some games it'll just happen like that, which sucks, but I'm not sure a better way to mitigate it. Okay, not sure what flavor of blue-white we're up against. I'm gonna guess it's control, although it could be soldiers. It's possible. So I think I'm gonna try to hold the Sokens in, although we have a pretty expensive hand, so the chance of us actually being able to play this out is pretty low unless we just like draw nothing but land. Yeah. We could wait a turn before playing the Sokens in here. I think I'm going to err on the chance that they're going to be control, and so that way I'll just go ahead and play this as a mountain. Although actually we've got quite a few things of white here, so maybe I'll just play this out in case I need this to be white next turn and just keep that flexibility. I could kind of see it, you know, going either way on it. But like these small decisions can matter a lot, like if you don't have the right land at the right time. Okay, do we want 4 land? I don't think so. Alright, so yeah, they are, looks like maybe Esper Legends or something like that. Okay, or some sort of weird pump deck. Oh yeah, they're the blue-white pump deck. Okay, so that being said, well, I think we still want to have access to 4, so maybe we play the Thran Portal now. Let's play it as white. And then I think we just want to go War Leader's Call here. I guess Evangelist can like give us a blocker, but I think, yeah, we just want to push. And then next turn we can go like Warden plus Emidane's Recruiter. So they'd probably have like Lauren's Escape here. Actually, yeah, if they're blowing their March now, that's really good for us. The other consideration here is getting Evangelist out, because then we can block before hopefully they can end the game. So I guess if we go like Warden plus Recruiter now, assuming they have like another March, or if they have like some kind of like probably Fading Hope or some sort of bounce. Basically like one of our creatures is gone, we can assume that. We're still pushing for 4, functionally 5 because of War Leader's Call. Like 5, this will be 3, functionally 4 because of War Leader's Call. 5, 9, 12, 15. Not quite lethal. So I think I actually want to go 1 turn more here and just get the Evangelist going. I guess we can play this post-combat here. And I think we do want to push, even if they eat one of our guys, it's still worth it to push damage through. This way, if they have like some way of giving this thing double strike or something, we can hopefully buy enough time to push in next turn. And we are 100% blocking with this bat. Yeah, now we're just going for it. So I think you can play this Thran Portal as like white source, and then just push. Now I think they need March to get out of this. Yeah, that's not going to do it. So yeah, with this deck, provided you can hit your land on time, you should be able to close out most games. Definitely a really, really satisfying deck for you aggro players that just really hate long control matchups. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's take a look at the stats, and I've got quite a bit of stats on this one. All right, so this deck is currently at 66% win rate. It is over quite a healthy number of matches here. 42 wins and 22 losses. So on the play, you're much more likely to win at 81%. On the draw, 50%. So it is, very draw dependent. That being said, it has a pretty good match against mono red. Still able to close out 64% win rate, 9 wins, 5 losses. 8-0 against mono black. So this deck just really beats up mono black. I have had real struggles with the mirror for whatever reason. So this could just be player error on my part. I'm not sure, but 2-6 against the mirror. So yeah, that could just maybe be me, or just who knows. Mono white, slightly better than 50%. 3 wins, 2 losses, 60% win rate. 80% against blue-white control. So really happy to see that. There could be possibly some soldiers matchups mixed in here, but I think most of this is like blue-white control. 100% against Selesnya, so we're, I guess, just faster than them. And then Orzhov, the life gain, whether it's Orzhov control or Orzhov life gain, could be a mix of both here, but currently 2 wins and 1 loss, so 67% win rate. 100% against like the mono white artifact deck thing. And then Dimir, I guess maybe they're a little bit faster, or they can kind of keep us off balance with all their bounce. And then it's about 50-50 with Esper control, 50-50 with like the Wormlet, the Teething Wormlet deck, Simic artifacts. And then Bant, Toxic, has been able to get under us a little bit faster. So that is definitely one of the tougher matchups. We're doing well here against Gruul, 2-0, 1-0 against Rakdos, also 1-0 against Blue, Black, Red. Forgot the name of that guild. 1-0 against Golgari, and 1-0 against Blue, Black, Green. Again, forgot the name of that guild. But yeah. And then Domain took a loss there, I think. So overall, the deck is doing pretty well. Pretty happy with it. And I definitely think this is a great deck for grinding ladder. So thanks again for watching, guys. And remember, you guys are awesome. And thank you for being here.